Hi, my name is Magen Wolmart and welcome to my channel. Today's video is super exciting because we are going to be talking all about how to be successful in online classes. The terminology that I'm going to be using are words like syllabus, syllabi, things like that, because I'm going to be talking in terms of college classes, but honestly, these tips are really good and I think can be applied to high school distance learning as well. We are in the time of COVID-19 and social distancing, and online classes are super popular and important now because a lot of both colleges and K through 12 districts are doing what is known as hybrid learning. So maybe 2 days a week you're going into school in person to learn in person with your teacher in the classroom, and the other days you are doing virtual learning or distance learning. I think that learning how to be successful while teaching yourself, because basically that's what an online class is super vital, and it's a really important skill to learn in general. So with that being said, let's get into the 10 tips. The first tip for taking online classes is to thoroughly read through every single syllabus for every single class. And you're not just going to read and skim through it. Like I said, you're going to thoroughly read it with a highlighter and highlight the important parts. Now, your first thought might be, it's a syllabus, the whole entire thing is important. And while that is true, some parts are more important than others. So for example, you're going to want to highlight the required textbook or the recommended reading for the semester, all of the due dates for the semester, all of the assignments and any instructions that are in the syllabus for the assignments. And oftentimes professors will put things in the syllabus like sections on plagiarism, things like that. And although that is very important and I highly suggest you read those sections, they're not necessarily highlight worthy because we're focusing on highlighting things that you must do to pass the class. Tip number 2 is to make a semester to-do list for each class. You're going to take your highlighted syllabus and take everything that you've highlighted and put it onto one single document. And again, you're going to be doing this for every class. So if you're taking 5 classes, you're going to have 5 syllabi and then 5 single to-do list documents. And on this to-do list document, you're going to want to have all of your key due dates, everything that you need to do to pass this class. And that brings me into step number 3, which, to be honest, I don't know a lot of people who do this, but I find it very helpful. And that is to create separate documents for each assignment with all of the instructions for that assignment. And the reason that I like to put my assignment instructions on a separate document rather than putting it on my semester to-do list is because the longer your to-do list gets, the more overwhelming it is. So just keeping everything separate and organized and simple, I've found, is the best way to go about online classes. Pretty much any class too. Even if it's not online, these tips are still very helpful. So again, for the instructions, you're just going to want to list everything out here, and it's pretty much going to be a checklist for that specific assignment. Let's say for your first class, you're going to have 1 syllabus highlighted, you're going to have a single semester to-do list document, and then say you have 5 big assignments for that class, you're going to have 5 other documents with all of the instructions for each assignment. Tip number 4 is one of my favorite tips, and that is to take everything on your semester to-do lists and put them into one place. Say you're taking 5 classes, you're going to take those 5 semester to-do lists and put them in one place. And this can be a paper planner, it can be Google Calendar, it can be the Apple Calendar, whatever you find is best. I personally use 2 methods, a paper planner, and I also used Google Calendar, and they always were identical. I like things on paper, but it was nice to have something electronically. That way, wherever I went, I always had my planner, even if I didn't feel like carrying around that thick paper planner. I also suggest finding some sort of coding system that works best for you, but I found color coding to be the most efficient and most organized way of doing it. So, you know, red, orange, green, blue, purple, whatever colors you want, just assign one specific color to that class. That way, you know, when you see that color, you know what class it is. I think it just helps your brain kind of organize and separate everything for the different classes. So now that you've read through every single syllabus, you've highlighted the syllabi, you've created a semester to-do list for each class, you've created separate documents for each assignment for each class, and you've put all of your key due dates onto a planner, you need to designate time every single week to get the work done. Now, this can change week by week, but I suggest at the beginning of every week taking time to plan your entire week, because this will help you determine when you're free and when you're not. And I think as time goes on, you kind of learn how much time you need to designate to classes, but I personally find blocking out extra time is better than not blocking out enough time. Not having enough time to get assignments done is the most stressful thing in the world. Definitely put school first and block out as much time as you can for your classes to do your work. And this might sound kind of crazy, but how I did it was, say I was taking a 3-credit course, what I would do is I would multiply the number of credits by 2, and that's how many hours I would block off in 1 week to get work done for that class. If it was a 3-credit course, I would block off at least 6 hours in the week to get the work done. And sometimes with readings, it can take longer, but still, I think that's a good starting period of time. You have everything laid out on your planner. You're blocking out time to get this work done. This is probably, I feel like I'm gonna say all of them are the most important, but this is super, super important because it involves discipline. Tip number 6 is to practice discipline and say no. Time management is one of the most important things you will learn in college, especially with online classes. It's very easy to forget about an online class because you're not seeing the professor in person. In my experience, I found that people do really good the first few weeks, but then after those first 2 to 3 weeks, people get behind and they get lazy. Socializing is very, very important in college to stay sane and so that you don't burn out faster. So say yes to things, go out, have fun with your friends, but know when you need to say no, even when you don't want to. Because remember that you're paying for your education. The school isn't paying you to become educated, you're paying for it. So why not actually learn what you're paying for? And I think that the previous tip, blocking out time, helps with this one. If you know how much time you need to spend on a course for that week and you haven't spent that time, you haven't finished your assignments, you're gonna know that you need to say no if somebody asks you to hang out. If the camera angle has changed at all, my battery was gonna die, so I just switched batteries real quick. But now we're on tip number 7. This tip is to get ahead in your work. It might seem impossible to do so, but trust me, this is very, very helpful. And I suggest, because like I said earlier, everyone has that really amazing motivation in the first few weeks to get everything done. Use those first few weeks and get ahead in your work. So maybe you read ahead in the textbook for a few weeks, or maybe you know your future assignments, so you start your assignments and you get ahead in those. And again, from my experience, a lot of online classes will give you pretty much everything for the entire semester. Even though things have specific due dates, you have the opportunity to get things done ahead of time. Because as I said in tip number 6, you should be saying no if you need to get work done. Getting ahead makes it easier for you to be able to say yes to more opportunities in the future. So tip number 8 is to utilize your professor. Professors are not scary. Get to know them, and they love when you get to know them too. They want to know you. They're teaching for a reason. Most of the time it's because they love their field and they want to teach the younger generation what they know. So ask them questions, talk to them, get to know them. I promise 99% of professors love this. And since you're taking online classes and you can't see them in person, email them, ask them to set up a Zoom meeting. And don't just do this as like an introductory thing in the beginning of the semester. Do this throughout the entire semester. If you have a question, don't just sit back and think, well, I guess I won't know the answer because I don't get to see the professor in person. Email them and ask them the question. They would rather you ask them, know what you're doing, and learn than sit there clueless, because that's not just a waste of your time, it's also a waste of their time. And I know I said this briefly earlier, but online classes most of the time means you're teaching yourself a lot. And it's okay that you don't necessarily understand everything that you're trying to teach yourself, because again, that's what your professor is there for. And that brings us to tip number 9, which is to check your school email on a daily basis, which I know kind of sounds crazy, but put it onto your phone as soon as possible. You never know when you're gonna get an email from a professor, because I'm gonna tell you this, and I think this is very important to know. Professors have the right to change anything on their syllabus throughout any point of the semester. They can take away assignments, they can add assignments, they can do whatever they want, and you have to be prepared. You have to know what's happening. Who knows, maybe they'll send out really helpful information because maybe 6 or 7 students all emailed the same question. So now she's just going to address it for the entire class. So when I was in school, I checked my email every single morning when I woke up. Like, I was literally still in bed, I turned my alarm off and I checked my email. I also checked my email every night before going to sleep and sometimes throughout the day too. Any single time I got to just quickly check my email, I did, because it doesn't take much time. It takes like 10 seconds to open up your phone, go to your email, refresh it, and check it. But the last and final tip for this video, tip number 10, is to reach out to your classmates. So what I want you to do is I want you to find out who is in this class and reach out to at least 1 to 3 of them. You can set up Zoom study groups. You can ask each other questions. You can collaborate and come up with ideas. But whatever you do, please do not copy each other's work. Do not cheat, because professors know. Utilize one another, help each other out, learn with each other, but do your own work. It will take more energy to copy somebody else's work and then get in trouble for it than it will to just learn it and do it yourself. So those are my 10 tips for taking online classes in college. I hope it was helpful. There are definitely so many more tips that I could give you for taking online classes in college and how to get a 4.0 in general. But for this video, I just wanted to stick to 10. So if you want to see more tips for taking online classes in college, give this video a thumbs up so I know that you liked it and so I know that it helped you. Ask me any questions in the comment section down below. I recently graduated with my bachelor's in communications and my master's in media communications and visual arts, and I was able to get all of that done in less than 4.5 years. So I promise it is possible to get all of this done. It is possible to get A's, to get 4.0s, and you can do it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications so that you get notified every single time I upload a video. The next video is going to be a makeup tutorial on the look that I have on now, so definitely turn those post notifications on so you can get notified when that goes up. And don't forget that I do Starbucks e-gift card giveaways. I do them on a monthly basis. Sometimes though I will combine ones if I don't post enough videos for 1 month. Read the description box below for all the rules for how to enter that. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.